Hi, you're listening to Fluent in Canine. I'm your host, Sarah Ann Reed, holistic dog trainer, animal communicator, and owner of Pack Dynamics. In today's episode, the topic is dog aggression. I will be communicating with dogs as a collective, meaning whoever wants to step up to the mic to hear about that word aggression from a dog's perspective. This is an intuitive conversation, which means that for all of those new listeners, dogs will communicate with me by showing me images and videos in my mind. If it's something emotional, I'll feel the emotion myself. If it's something physical, I'll feel usually that sensation in my body. And then they will show me an image of their body in my mind and highlight that area. And it's like feeling the words that they're sharing with me. When I am communicating with dogs as a collective, I never know what they're going to share. It can often be dogs who have transitioned and crossed over Rainbow Bridge that are giving insight, as well as dogs who are living in physical form right now. So let's get started. My eyes are always closed when I'm communicating, which helps me to feel their messages more easily. Okay. So as I'm tuning in, I'm seeing a lot of dogs. I'm seeing a room that's really filled with so many dogs that are representative of all of the dogs who need a voice. They're saying, yes, they're going to have one spokesperson today. Yes, okay. And they're saying, we're so glad that you're touching on this topic of what is termed as aggression. It really breaks our heart that people don't really understand what this is. Often people will think that, that their dog is aggressive or being mean or misbehaving or being difficult or out of control, when in fact the dog is just extremely afraid and feeling a lot of panic and stress and insecurity, and showing this in the only way that dogs can, by barking, lunging, growling. And because they're baring teeth and often actually biting, this is why it's been termed aggression. But it's really just an overwhelming, intense feeling that's being exhibited in the only way that dogs can communicate these feelings of fear, panic, insecurity. They have no other way. And often the reason that this is happening, these incidents of two dogs fighting with each other or a person getting bitten by a dog, it's because it's human error, they're saying. It's because, a dog has been, for example, taken to a dog park and they get overwhelmed and stressed out easily. And yet their family thinks that they should enjoy going to the dog park and play with the other dogs because that means that they have a quote unquote happy life. Yeah. But this isn't the case for every dog. So for dogs who are really sensitive to energy and emotion and get overstimulated, overwhelmed easily, and also, maybe don't know how to read body language well, or a puppy that's really out of control and hasn't learned to read other dog signals or manners. Yeah. Okay. One dog could be feeling really insecure and nervous, and another dog picks up on that energy and says, you're acting weird. You're giving off these weird vibes, and will attack them because they're getting these weird vibes. They want them to go away. Yeah. Sometimes, so dogs are attacked by another dog because of their insecurity, right? Yes. Okay. And they're showing me a situation of one dog who feels very insecure and nervous, and it really doesn't matter what the size is. And another dog who feels very assertive, feeling like they need to take charge of the situation. They could start, the fight, and other dogs could jump in. And this is so dangerous. And then, of course, the dog who's been attacked by multiple dogs is completely traumatized, usually for the rest of their life. But it can happen with a puppy who is just bounding around, and maybe they have an adult dog at home who's very, very tolerant and doesn't mind them jumping in their face and barking and saying, play with me, play with me, play with me, play with me. But the puppy does this to another dog at the park, and they just want to play, but maybe the other dog is a senior dog and they don't have that kind of tolerance. The puppy could get bitten. Or maybe it's a dog who's been attacked by another dog in the past. Yeah. And this dog feels very threatened by the puppy coming up and jumping in their face, and now the puppy's bitten. Or it could be two dogs who are feeling extremely assertive, and they feel each other's energy. They're kind of puffing up with each other, and they're duking it out, so to speak, to decide who's top dog. And if a dog has a health issue, the other dogs can smell that they're not 100% healthy, more likely to get attacked. The same thing with a senior dog. Yeah. And so they're going back to what they started with, which is not all dogs are comfortable going to the dog park, right? Some dogs are like the social butterfly and love playing with other dogs, but you still need to watch the room, so to speak. Yes, okay. Because there are a lot of people who take their dog to the dog park knowing that their dog has attacked a dog in the past. They have no recall, and they just hope it doesn't happen again. So even if your dog is a friendly dog and gets along with other dogs and nothing's ever happened to them before, it doesn't mean that something can't happen in the future. So it's very important to yourself be tuning in to the energy of the people and the dogs and what's going on around you, rather than chatting with someone that's standing close to you or checking something on your phone in order to make sure that your dog is safe and protected at all times. The other critical thing they're saying is to make sure that you have 100% recall and your dog comes back to you the moment you call them. Because if they don't have great recall, they're way more likely to have an incident with another dog. If you can't call them away when you see another dog could be threatening in a way, or make your dog feel uncomfortable, if your dog tunes you out or only has selective hearing, comes when they want to, it probably is not a good idea to take them to the dog park. Unless you know that you're taking them at a certain time, that it's really quiet, and usually the same people go. You know the dogs, all the dogs get along together really well. Yes. And they're saying an alternative for Okay, an alternative for a dog who gets overwhelmed easily at the dog park might be going on a walk with their best dog pal out in the woods somewhere so that they can enjoy each other's company without feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated. And they're wanting me to, yes, explain this from the dog's perspective in a different way. Some people recharge by going out and being social. They love going to parties and being busy, going out and doing things with people all the time. They thrive in groups, love meeting new people. While other people, that can be very draining and really uncomfortable for them. And they would rather go out to a quiet dinner or meet a friend for coffee or tea somewhere, or just stay home and read a book rather than go to a party. That's not how they get recharged. They actually get drained from being around a lot of people. And yes, okay, thank you. There's so much information about this that they want me to share with you. Dogs, every dog is different. Some dogs love being around other dogs. For some dogs, it's very overwhelming and overstimulating. And it causes them to feel nervous. And if your dog has ever been attacked by another dog before, don't they have every right to feel uncomfortable and nervous around dogs? Because they now don't view dogs as potential playmates. They view them as potential threats. Every dog is completely different. Some dogs can go through a traumatic experience of being attacked, and after a couple of months, they're able to let it go. While other dogs will file that experience away, and that experience gets pulled to the forefront the moment that they see another dog, and the dog cannot help but to feel that intense panic and fear, expecting that they are going to get attacked again, especially from dogs who look like the dog who attacked them. Sometimes it's a dog that look like them. Sometimes it's the size of the dog. And it can also just be the energy of the dog, right? They're saying punishing a dog for feeling afraid and reacting because of that fear, that insecurity, is not right. Dogs should never be punished for feeling afraid. Yes, and they're showing me a picture of a dog feeling afraid and reacting in what's termed as aggressive, and they're really reactive. They're growling, they're lunging at a dog who's passing by. And if the dog is shocked with an electric shock collar, that dog now has an even more traumatic experience every time they see another dog. Because if you think about it, the shock collar shocks them on their neck. And that is where dogs get attacked. So it's actually confirming to them that dogs are something to be feared. And some people swear by shock collars and say, but my dog isn't reacting anymore. Why do you think that is? Because they trust you? Because they feel safe with you? Because they've changed their mind about other dogs? No. Because they're afraid of reacting to the other dog, because every time they do, they get shocked. And they're wanting everyone to really hear this. Do you want to control and force your dog to not react in a way that is so natural that they have every right to experience this fear and this trauma, right? To show you this. Why is it so wrong for them to show you how they feel? And why is it okay for humans to punish dogs with pain when they're already in emotional pain? Okay. And they're crying. The dogs are crying. They're saying, it is breaking our hearts to witness this approach of trying to control and force dogs to feel differently than they do. Why is it that people can't get to the root of the action, the behavior that the dog is doing, and realize that it's valid, that fear, that panic, the insecurity, the feeling overwhelmed, it is valid. Why not learn how to help them honor how they feel about other dogs and stop putting them in situations that cause them to feel afraid? Well, a lot of trainers will say, expose them over and over and over and over and over and over to desensitize them from other dogs. This doesn't help a dog change their mind about other dogs. It just re-traumatizes them and brings up the panic constantly. And okay, and they're also wanting me to share this. Let's face it. Dogs are not sitting around on a Saturday night saying, oh, I don't have enough friends. That's humans that do that. Dogs are not social creatures like we are. Dogs have their pack, their family. Packs of dogs do not wander around in the wild looking for other dogs to become friends with. This is not natural. And you might say, but I only have one dog at home. They don't have a playmate. I really want my dog to have a playmate, but they're nervous with other dogs. And they're saying, first, learn how to understand your dog. Stop taking them to places that they have to be surrounded by other dogs. Like, take them on a walk, on a leash, by themselves. Help them to learn to relax and feel safe and start to trust you. Because if you continue to put them in situations that cause them to feel afraid, that would be like a little boy that's terrified of clowns. And the parents are purposely taking the little boy anywhere they can that they think a clown might be. We'll take them to the circus. We'll take them to the birthday party. There's going to be 3 clowns there. It just continues to traumatize them, right? And the little boy wouldn't feel safe eventually going out with the parents. Where are we going? Are we going to see something I'm terrified of? Because every time you take me out, I'm traumatized. It damages that feeling of trust and safety for children and for dogs, our furry kids, right? So when you take them out of the house on a walk, try to think about, from their perspective, what kind of a walk are they going to enjoy? What's going to build our bond? Maybe you drive 15 minutes to take them on a walk. Maybe the walk isn't as long as you would like it to be, but they don't have to deal with a lot of other dogs. Maybe you walk them in a neighborhood, a couple of neighborhoods over, because your neighborhood is really busy and it's a little quieter a bit further away, right? And if your dog is really afraid of other dogs and you have a fenced-in yard, there's nothing wrong with exercising them in your yard. Play fetch with them. Walk them on a leash in your yard. They're still getting exercise, like jogging on the treadmill and jogging on the trail. Still exercise. The scenery just doesn't change, right? And think about how enjoyable and relaxing this would be for a dog who gets stressed out every time you leave the house. Why not have fun with them in the yard where they can enjoy you walking with them and playing with them and having fun with them? And then once you're noticing that your dog is feeling more relaxed and trusting in you more, what will happen is you will see them come out of their shell. You will see who they really are when they're not constantly stressed. And when you can see their true personality, it's much easier for you to then assess if you have a friend or a family member with a dog who you think would be a good match. So maybe you say, well, my dog's pretty insecure and doesn't like too much motion going on, and does much better with dogs who are quieter and a little calmer. So I have a friend with a dog who's pretty chill and easygoing, lets things roll off their back. And they're not in your face kind of a dog. They're really good at honoring space. And they have really good grounded energy. To see if they can become walking buddies or not and create a friendship, the best thing to do is to take them on a walk, like out in the woods, away from other people and other dogs, and you have each of them on a leash. You're walking about 20 feet apart with people on the inside, dogs on the outside, and you're just walking in a straight line. And you're yawning a lot, which can be calming for dogs. And you're just noticing both dogs' behaviors. Do they seem comfortable and relaxed with each other? If one of the dogs is pulling, barking, lunging, growling, then you weave away from each other. Keep going straight. Wait until they calm down. Try walking just a couple of steps towards each other, if you can, and then walk in a straight line again. So you're slowly bridging that gap and coming together. And if either dog reacts in a fearful way, an uncomfortable way, a stressed out way, you just veer away from each other again. And you keep doing this dance of walking towards each other. If it's going well, keep going straight. If they're struggling with it, you move away from each other a little bit more. It might be weeks to months before the dogs learn to feel comfortable with each other. And the other thing that they want me to share is, okay, if one or the other or both dogs are really intense in their reaction to each other, they may just not be a good match, right? So just because your friend has a dog and they're the same breed or the same age, and you're best friends with this person, doesn't mean that your dogs can be best friends. Every dog has a different personality. They get stressed and afraid of different things. They learn differently. They can handle different situations. And it's very important not to try to force them to be friends because you want them to be. Just like you can't force two children to be best friends. They either enjoy each other's company and feel safe, or they don't. If it's not a huge reaction, you can slowly build up that feeling of trust. If it's a really big reaction, not the right fit. Okay, and they're wanting me to share that some dogs who have suffered extreme trauma, and this is different for every dog. Maybe they have been a bait dog. Yeah. Maybe they've been attacked multiple times at the dog park. Maybe they've been constantly picked on by another dog in your home, and now they're uncomfortable with all dogs. Maybe they've just been attacked once and it was 3 years ago. Every dog processes their trauma differently, as they were talking about earlier. Some people have one bad experience and they don't feel comfortable with other dogs at all. And other dogs can learn to have one friend. After a while, some dogs kind of shake it off, so to speak, and then they're good again, unless it happens multiple times, right? So it's very important to honor your dog's own unique personality and what they feel safe and comfortable with, and honor that. And they're saying it's so important for people to not put their own desires on how they want their dog to be. Well, I'm really upset because I got a dog for company, and I love going on walks. But I can't go on walks because my dog pulls so much on the leash and it hurts my arm. So the only way to give them exercise is to take them to the dog park. But they're so stressed out at the park, or they've attacked more than one dog, or they don't seem like they're enjoying themselves. But I want to encourage them, go play with the other dogs. Know that you can't make them feel comfortable, just like you can't make a child who's insecure and nervous and has a hard time making friends, you can't make them feel confident and comfortable going up and being social. And it's a misconception that all dogs should enjoy playing together. That is not the case. It's important that every dog feels accepted for who they are and heard. Yes, meaning honoring them as an individual being, what they need, what they like, what they don't like, and not trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, they're saying. Yeah. Your dog will be whoever they are, not what you want them to be. And some training approaches are very cookie cutter, and it's all about controlling your dog and giving them commands and making them do what you want. Being stern with them. And it's very forceful. And that approach of training does not honor dogs as individual beings. Yes, they're saying humans are here to have an experience with their canine companions. Even though you may have spent money to adopt us or purchase us from a breeder, it's very important that people shift their mindset about owning us. We are beings with a soul, with feelings. We have thoughts. We have needs. And we want to be heard. We want to be honored for who we are. And just accepted. And they're saying, isn't that what humans want too? And they're sharing this, example of parents who have a certain trajectory for their child, and they push them into taking those subjects, push them to get great grades, and there's so much pressure on the child to be perfect and succeed and live up to the parents' expectation. And in this scenario that the dogs are describing, the parents are not supporting and cultivating the child's desire to follow their own path and their own dreams. They've already got something planned out that they think that they should do, follow in the father's footsteps, maybe follow a certain career path, when in fact the child doesn't want to do that at all. They feel really do something else. That's what they would like to do instead. And you think about this child and how sad that experience is. Parents have their own lives. They can make their own choices. And a parent's job is to nurture and encourage their child to find their own path, to excel at their own dreams, to support them, be their best cheerleader in whatever the child wants to follow in their dream life. And they're saying it's a really similar concept when you think about your fur baby. You may have brought your dog into your home for a certain reason, to fulfill expectations that you have. But it's very important to be honest with yourself and take an honest look at your dog and who they are. Put your own desires aside and love your dog enough to give them their best life, not the best life you think they should have. And they're saying so many people feel guilty because they think their dog should have more dog friends and they should have more experiences. But the dog isn't feeling that. The dog isn't thinking that. The dog just wants to be safe and feel loved and acknowledged and heard. So if you are someone who feels guilty not taking your dog out to the dog park because your dog gets stressed out going there, there's no reason to feel guilty. Your dog would much rather stay home with you and go on a walk in the woods or play fetch in the yard, play in the house, than be put in a situation with a lot of clowns, right? A lot of potentially scary experiences. So they're saying, be kind to yourself. Know that you are doing the most loving thing for your dog by not putting them in those situations. And they're saying, why? Why is it this idea that we should train dogs to love all of other dogs? Why isn't a dog's feelings taken into consideration? And they're also saying it's not like we're encouraging dogs barking and lunging and growling at each other. We're not saying that. We're saying, why is this happening? This is happening because humans are putting the dogs in situations that are not comfortable for the dog. So the only way to help the dog is to take the dog out of that situation and work with them in a very kind and loving and respectful way to help the dog learn to feel safe and comfortable and put them in situations that they enjoy being in. And if you want to go out to a brewery with your dog and your dog can't handle it, leave your dog at home and go by yourself and enjoy a beer. Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to share about this? There's so much on this topic. They're just saying we're going to end with, it's time that people stopped terming their reaction as aggressive. It is not aggressive. Okay, and they just want me to end with this. When humans get overwhelmed and stressed out and fearful and frustrated, do they sometimes yell? Do they sometimes slam something? Maybe when they normally wouldn't, but they feel like they're pulling their hair out. When a human is in a situation that they're really afraid and their adrenaline is pumping, is it possible that they could appear, quote unquote, violent, aggressive? If they feel like their family is being threatened, would they raise their voice and maybe grab something to protect their family and charge a potential intruder coming into their house? Would they do everything they could to protect their family? It's called aggressive, isn't it? Yes. Being aggressive towards another human being. However, if someone wasn't trying to break into this person's home, and while they're waiting for the police to arrive, they feel like they have no other choice, their back is up against the wall, they have to protect their family at all costs. Wouldn't this, let's say it's a dad protecting the wife and children. Is this a normal behavior for this father to be yelling and screaming and grabbing something and hitting someone, trying to stop them from coming in and hurting their family? No, this isn't normal, natural behavior. Sorry, natural. This is normal if you're being attacked, right? But this is not normal behavior every day. Usually the dad is loving and kind and respectful and calm and centered and takes care of everyone in a really grounded way, in a very respectful way. So is that father aggressive because he reacted like that towards an intruder? Is that what he's labeled now as a violent man because of that incident where he felt threatened? No. It's very accepted, isn't it, to protect your family at all costs. No matter what you need to do, you have to protect your family. You have to protect yourself. It's instinctual, isn't it? And the dogs are saying, then why are dogs punished for reacting in that same way that's so instinctual to protect their family, to protect themselves? It's okay for humans because it was a certain situation that triggered it. But if a dog reacts like this, they're deemed as aggressive and often killed. And if this father, the scenario that we're talking about, let's say a week after someone tried to break into the home and attack the family. If this father, 2 o'clock in the morning, wakes up, they hear a noise outside, he thinks that someone's trying to break in again, and he rushes downstairs ready to protect his family again, and he gets amped up, his adrenaline is going through the roof. Is that a natural response for him to have? Is that okay for him to feel like that? Because he heard a noise outside and he's already had to deal with this before. Someone's already tried to break into the home. Is it okay for him to have this feeling? Yes, it is. And that's what it's like for dogs who have been attacked before and they see another dog. They're expecting it to happen again. It's time that we start listening to and honoring and respecting dogs, honoring their feelings, finding a solution to help them rather than punish them and label them as aggressive. They're saying, thank you very much for listening. We know that this was a very intense message. I'm just going to thank them for their amazing wisdom and insight. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed listening today. Until next time.